The rain hammered against the windows like 1,000 desperate fists, each drop a reminder of the storm's fury. Inside his modest two-bedroom house, Marcus Webb stood at the kitchen sink, watching the street transform into a river. His 6-year-old daughter, Emma, sat at the table behind him, her small fingers wrapped around a mug of hot chocolate, humming a tune she'd learned at school. This was their routine now, just the two of them against the world. Since losing his wife Sarah to cancer 2 years ago, Marcus had learned that love wasn't always loud or grand. Sometimes it was as simple as making sure your child felt safe when thunder shook the walls. The knock came around 9 o'clock. So faint, Marcus almost missed it beneath the storm's roar. He wasn't expecting anyone. In this quiet neighborhood outside Portland, Oregon, visitors were rare, especially on a night like this. He hesitated, glancing at Emma, who looked up with curious eyes. Another knock, more urgent this time. When Marcus opened the door, he found a man collapsed against the frame, drenched to the bone, shivering violently. The stranger couldn't have been more than 30, with dark hair plastered to his forehead and clothes that clung to his thin frame like a second skin. His lips were nearly blue, and his eyes held a desperation that Marcus recognized, the kind that came from being truly, completely alone. "Please," the man managed through chattering teeth. "My car broke down about 2 miles back. My phone's dead. I've been walking for over an hour. I just need to get warm, maybe use your phone. I'm sorry to bother you." Every instinct told Marcus to be cautious. He was a single father with a young daughter. You didn't just let strangers into your home at night. But looking at this man, Marcus saw something beyond the potential. Danger. He saw another human being in genuine need. He thought of Sarah, who had never turned away anyone asking for help. What would she do? He'd often asked himself in difficult moments. He already knew the answer. "Come in," Marcus said, stepping aside. "You'll catch pneumonia out there." The stranger stumbled inside, water pooling around his feet on the hardwood floor. Emma peeked around the corner, her eyes wide. Marcus gave her a reassuring smile. "It's okay, sweetheart. This gentleman's car broke down in the storm. He needs some help." Marcus brought towels, found some of his own clothes that might fit, and started a pot of coffee. While the stranger changed in the bathroom, Marcus quickly called the local auto shop. But they'd closed hours ago due to the weather. The roads were too dangerous for tow trucks anyway. The man would have to wait until morning. "I'm Daniel," the stranger said when he emerged, looking more human in dry clothes. "Daniel Morrison." "I can't thank you enough. I thought I might die out there tonight." Over steaming mugs of coffee, Daniel's story unfolded. He was a journalist, he explained, traveling across the country, documenting stories of every day. Americans, their struggles, their hopes, their resilience. He'd been on his way to Seattle when his 15-year-old sedan finally gave up. His voice carried a weight that Marcus recognized. The sound of someone carrying invisible burdens. Emma, who should have been in bed, crept into the kitchen and climbed into her father's lap. "Are you going to be okay?" she asked Daniel with the unfiltered concern only children possess. Daniel's eyes glistened. "I am now, thanks to your dad. He's a good man." "The best," Emma agreed, hugging Marcus's neck. Marcus made up the couch with blankets and pillows, giving Daniel a safe place to sleep. Before heading to bed, Daniel pulled out a weathered notebook from his bag, one of the few things that had stayed relatively dry. "Do you mind if I ask you something? What made you open that door tonight? Most people wouldn't have." Marcus thought about it, his hand resting on Emma's bedroom door frame. "My wife used to say that we're all just walking each other home. When she got sick, our community showed up in ways I never expected. Meals, childcare, just sitting with us. I learned that kindness isn't complicated. You just do it." The next morning, Marcus woke to find Daniel already up, folding the blankets neatly. The storm had passed, leaving behind a crystal-clear sky. Marcus called the auto shop, and they promised to send someone out within the hour. Over breakfast, pancakes that Emma insisted on helping make, Daniel seemed different. Lighter somehow. "Marcus," Daniel said carefully, "I need to tell you something. My full name is Daniel Morrison, and I'm not just any journalist. I work for CNN. I've been doing a series called American Hearts, finding stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Last night, before my phone died, I'd actually been following up on a lead in this area about community kindness initiatives. But what you did for me, a complete stranger, in the middle of a dangerous storm with your daughter to protect, that's the story people need to hear. Marcus nearly dropped his spatula. CNN, you're joking. I'm not. And if you'll let me, I'd like to share your story. Not because you're looking for recognition, I can see you're not, but because people have forgotten what it means to help each other. They're scared, divided, suspicious. Your story could remind them of something important. Marcus felt his face flush. I just did what anyone should do. But most wouldn't, Daniel said quietly. That's exactly the point. An hour later, a CNN van pulled up outside Marcus's house. Then another. By noon, the modest home was surrounded by camera crews. Daniel had made some calls, and his producers had immediately greenlit the story. They'd even arranged to repair Marcus's older furnace, something he'd been putting off due to cost, as a thank you. Emma watched from the window, amazed. Daddy, you're famous! But Marcus felt uncomfortable with the attention. He'd simply opened his door to someone in need. As the cameras rolled and Daniel interviewed him, Marcus spoke not about himself, but about Sarah, about their community, about the lesson he wanted Emma to learn. That true wealth wasn't measured in money, but in how you treated other people. The story aired that evening on national television. Daniel had crafted it beautifully, showing not just Marcus's kindness, but also his struggle as a single father, his late wife's legacy, and Emma's innocent wisdom. The segment ended with Marcus's words. We're all just one storm away from needing help. The question is, will someone open their door? The response was overwhelming. Donations poured in for Emma's college fund. The local community organized a support network for single parents. People across the country shared their own stories of kindness, inspired to help strangers. Marcus received letters from every state, thanking him for reminding them of their own humanity. But the moment that mattered most came weeks later. Emma's teacher called to tell Marcus that his daughter had used her allowance to buy an extra lunch for a classmate who'd forgotten theirs. When Marcus asked Emma why, she simply said, We're all just walking each other home, right, Daddy? Marcus pulled her close, tears streaming down his face, knowing that Sarah would be proud. That stormy night had taught him something profound. Kindness creates ripples we can't imagine, and sometimes opening your door means opening hearts across an entire nation. One act of compassion, one moment of choosing humanity over fear, had reminded millions of people what really mattered. And it all started with a knock on the door during a storm, and a single dad who chose to answer.